this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Should I have? It's a ship that made the Castle Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to
Castle Run Weekly.
My name is Danny.
I'm Heather.
And today we are joined by a very special guest, Miss Stephanie from the Superpowered Fancast.
Woo! Welcome.
Thank you.
And so we're really excited to have you on today because we are talking about something really exciting. We are talking about Ladies of Force, our Star Wars ladies, who are absolutely awesome. One of the most, in all honesty, I feel like Star Wars has the best women in sci-fi, in storytelling in general. Besides Alien. We'll see. Besides Alien. But I mean, in all honesty, I love how Star Wars has always portrayed their women. I've never felt like it's been the typical damsel in distress or anything like that. And that's just me personally. I've always felt like it's been a good representation where they've been able to get themselves out. They save themselves. And a lot of times save the guys.
We started with Leia. Mm-hmm. Leia Organa, the very first, and she was bad, in my opinion. Yeah. She could kick it, and she didn't need your approval.
No.
She doesn't need you as a team. If you want to be a team, okay, we'll work it out, but you're on my team.
Right.
I'm not on yours.
Yeah, and I never felt like she was overly sexualized, as far as even in the bikini scene, whatever.
I mean, even then, she was the Hutt Slayer.
Exactly.
She kicked butt.
Yeah, she wasn't just a hoard ornament.
Yes.
She was there for a purpose, and a lot of times she was the smartest one there. So.
She saved Han.
Yep.
I mean, granted, it went south, but I mean, she infiltrated Hutt Slayer, got to Han, got him defrosted or whatever they considered it at the time. And, to me, like, she wasn't the one that needed rescuing in like, even on the ship, She waited till her moment, and the whole thing was planned out. And I thought it was really cool. I love what she did for women in general. You could be attractive because she was attractive. Mm-hmm. And you could be, a woman and still kick butt.
Yeah, for sure. I love Leia. She's queen.
Definitely. Yeah. And I've always loved even the scene in A New Hope where they're like, hey, we're here to rescue you. And the first thing she's got to say, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Like, even then, she's throwing sass, and she's just like, you're the rescue party? Like, seriously?
I'll rescue what's happening here?
Exactly. She's like, whatever. You open the door, just let me out.
Yeah.
She's like, woohoo, you picked a lot. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want a medal?
It's not much to write home about.
Exactly. But I always loved the strength that she portrayed and how she didn't take it from anybody. Even to the point where, Han gave her grief the entire trilogy. And even
Still giving her grief.
Still giving her grief, yeah.
4 movies later.
Oh, yeah.
Or however many movies.
Exactly. 4 for him. He's not going very much further than 7.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But yes. But yeah, but I mean, I love their relationship too, because she obviously has the control on that. But yeah, so I mean, I love their relationship because the whole time, I mean, he's given her grief and everything, and even though maybe some of it's true, things like that, she's not going to let it show. No. She's in control as much as she can be, and it's basically like that kind of you're an idiot kind of relationship.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I love their dynamic, and she was funny and. She just had a purpose, and a lot of times, especially in that era, and when those movies were made, and when they came out, women were either
Daphne,
something pretty to look at. We brought her along because we get bored.
Yeah.
And she's nice. She's a pretty piece of wallpaper.
Easy on the eyes, I think is. What people always say.
She's easy on the eyes.
She's easy on the eyes.
Yeah, and to me it felt like every one of her scenes had a purpose. and they were interesting. They weren't just like, she really does tread that line of a strong female without being ridiculously overpowered, over like too much, like unrealistic human
Right.
person.
Which brings me to her mother, because her mother is almost the same person. I mean, I have a Venn diagram, people. But it's like the similarities are so striking. Like the spirit and the strength and the cutting, and in a way, they're taste in men.
Yep.
They don't exactly have the best relationship goals.
No.
# relationship goals.
Yeah. They don't.
No, they seem to fall for the exact same guy. It's just about.
Yeah.
Well, Han's a little different in that he didn't kill a bunch of babies, but I mean, he's still a very toxic.
Hey,
it's still a toxic relationship, you know.
Do you have feelings about Anakin?
I do. You know, I do.
I'm an Anakin. He'll tell you. I have no qualms about Anakin, but yeah, but
except for the baby killing part, that was, you know, that broke my.
That was sad.
Heart.
A little sad.
I was just like, well, awesome, great.
Yeah.
I can't think of an excuse to make this okay. There is not one.
Can't explain that one away.
Nope. Sure can't. Can't defend you.
But I mean, I guess either side. I mean, both of them had their, I guess, dark spots to their character, where he was a smuggler, smuggling spice, which is the drug of choice. So, ergo, he's a drug dealer of sorts, or transporter, however you want to look at that. But I mean, he wasn't the best guy. But what was cool is that she made him wanna be.
Right.
She inspired him. And I think that was really cool. And not even that, and I don't even feel like that was actually the goal.
Too, though.
Exactly. Yeah. Padme inspired him to want to be better, to be stronger in order to save her, and things like that, and encouraged him to aspire to be more.
Right.
And I love that didn't stop, or that goal wasn't all that their characters were there for, that they had their own. And as far as Leia, I mean, she was a senator, now a general.
Yes.
I mean, she was a boss. Like, she definitely knew what she was doing and knew where she was going.
Right. And, you know, it's okay if boyfriend isn't there holding your hand every moment. Like, I have a relationship with my husband where if we're like, he's deployed right now, but if he was home, we're in the same room, we're holding hands, or we're doing everything together, where they can sit there and go, you know, I'm an independent woman. I can be out and have my own career and have my own stuff. And, you know, I don't really need you that bad. Go smuggle.
Yeah.
Go be a Jedi in the Outer Rim, and I'll be here when you get home, basically.
Which is, you know, because now, especially how relationships are now, it's like, if you're not talking to me every second of every day, if you're not spending all your time with me, if you're not glued to my hip, if you're not helping me walk, you know, pretty much spoon feeding me at this point, if you're not giving me a pat on the back because I showed up and breathed today, you know,
you got out of bed.
Good job, baby. I'm so proud of you. Yay. No. And it's just nice to see that. It's like, just because I'm not around you doesn't mean I love you any less.
Right.
You're taking care of your stuff, and I've got my own stuff that is not dependent upon you and your stuff.
Exactly.
Not that I'm organizing a rebellion or anything.
No. Not at all. But I've got stuff to do, babe.
Yep.
I ain't got time.
I'm busy.
And it's just nice. It's like, okay, go do your stuff. I'll do my stuff. And when I see you again, I still love you the same. I still have that feeling, you know, for you. I'm still excited to see you. So it doesn't put a dampen, or like, it doesn't damper like their emotions toward each other.
Right. And it that much confidence coming from a woman is so amazing to see, because we see airbrushing and, you know, we have to wear the makeup and the, you know, but that can be ornamentation in a way that I'm not putting on my blue lipstick for my husband. I'm putting it on because I like it. And Star Wars has helped me a lot to see that I can be, you know, I mean, I get it from my friends too, most of the time, but you know, yeah, I mean, you can be your own person and not be dependent on someone else.
Right.
Definitely.
It's like, even if you don't tell me I'm pretty that day, I'm still going to be pretty.
Yeah, I'm still gorgeous and you can't do anything about it, really. I mean, you can even call me ugly and I'll go,
Okay. If you don't like it, don't look.
yeah, pretty much.
I don't like how you did your hair. Good thing it's not yours then.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what I like about my husband is I cut all of my hair off. He's like, your hair.
There you go. For the win.
There you go.
He doesn't think I look like a boy, so that's always awesome.
Absolutely.
So, I also had that Leia is kind of abrasive, where Padme has a very welcoming demeanor. She brings you in, and she like.
Well, I think that's the politician in her.
It is,
to be honest,
but she's very, you know, people tell her things, and she's diplomatic to a fault.
Yes.
Where her daughter can sit there and say, "You scruffy nerd herder," you know, because she's like, she'd rather, you know, be rude than to ever let herself show.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that comes in with her role in the rebellion, because I mean, you're leading an army basically,
right? And you can't show weakness.
I mean, yeah, you can't show weakness, so she has to match the strength to be that leader. It's a goal that and a cause that she believes in with her whole heart. I mean, obviously now she's a general in said rebellion, and so I think that a lot of that strength and that abrasiveness is her becoming part of that world, or a product of that world, really. Not to discount her strength at all, but I think that what she's grown up in with what her father, Bail Organa, or her adoptive father, Bail Organa, had brought her up in, that was her world for the longest time. Even
she saw everything crumbling around her. She saw that she was in a place of power, and she could do something about it.
Yeah.
And just like any general or, you know, soldier or rebellion leader, I mean, if you show weakness, what other people see as weakness, you're going to get replaced. You're not going to be as effective as you would have been.
Right. And I think it's a good thing to note because Padme was in power at a very young age.
Yes.
Leia really wasn't. I mean, she was still a young woman.
She was a princess, not in power.
Yeah.
Right. No, I was agreeing with you.
No, yeah, she wasn't, you know, but she thought she was in charge.
Yeah, she did.
Which she was, queen. I'll never say anything bad about Leia. But Padme, with her being in power, like, as a child, it's kind of like, you know, she had to be cold seeming. You know, she had to be, you know, diplomatic. She had to be fair. And so I think it's interesting that Padme is more warm and welcoming because she didn't have the time to be that as a child.
Right.
Like, she had to be very adult very early in life.
13
and,
to rule a country.
Yeah. And Leia, you know, Leia, you know, she's, I don't know how old exactly she is.
I think she was
early
teenager,
20s.
late teens. Yeah, something like
early
that.
20s, something
Yeah.
like
I
that.
thought it
But-
was early
all
20s,
about that.
but I could be wrong.
I think Luke's 19 in that.
So 19.
yeah.
But that's still 19
Mhm.
in comparison to 30. That's 6 years.
Mhm.
You know, Leia may have had time to, you know, of course, be in the world she was brought up in and everything like that. But she probably was allowed to be warm at home with her adoptive family.
We don't really get to see her with her family.
Right. And when we see Padme, she's the first time we see, I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. You're very, very mannequin-like, but that's fine.
Well, and then you also have the difference between pre-war and in the middle of a war
yeah.
as well, too, that I think shapes them a lot. Because Amidala, Padme, I don't know why I chose that. But yeah, Padme, I mean, she had her time to rule her country. Obviously, she had to make hard decisions and grow up quickly. But Leia was forged by war.
Yeah.
The rise of the Empire that Bail Organa himself watched happen. The fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire, and then knowing who Palpatine is, even going forward through that. So definitely different upbringings, I would say.
Yeah, and I just like that they're so different. One seems so soft, where the other seems so hard, but still amazing. In my opinion, an equal.
They are. They're both
Yeah.
So complementary to each other.
Yeah. And to me, they have so many similar traits, but they're so different. They're so different. And because if you'd have just given me Leia's mom is just Leia, it would have taken away from Leia.
Right.
It would have been like,
we don't need to be facsimiles of our parents.
No.
That always drives me nuts whenever you see like flashbacks of parentage or grandparentage or great grandparentage and it's the same actor.
I hate that. I'm like, why? You couldn't just get a blonde dude?
You couldn't just get somebody that kind of looks the same? It doesn't make any sense. So it always throws me off. But on this, it's like they're just different enough and they're the same enough that it just fits.
Yes. I completely agree with that.
And it kind of makes me wonder, like, if Padme would have lived, what kind of mother-daughter situation, like, with their personalities, what kind of relationship would they have had? Like, because I know a lot of mothers and daughters that don't talk, or they do talk all the time, or they, they get along and they're friends, or so it's like, I wonder what advice Padme would have had for Leia when she came to her mother and said, I've met this guy named Han.
That would have been a conversation for the ages.
I mean, you have a conversation with your mother at some point about the man you're going to marry. That's just what you do when you do that. I mean, if you're any kind of friends at all. And I think that they would be. I think that they would be friends. And Padme would be more of a mother and less of a friend, maybe.
I could see that.
But she wouldn't, she would be there when her daughter needed her.
Yeah. Though the way I am with my mom, we're very, very close. We're a lot alike. We're also very different. I'm a very emotionally driven human being. I'm super sensitive. I worry a lot. My mom, absolutely not. Like, she's a kind woman.
Right.
And
difference between empathy and sympathy.
Right. But my mom's also the kind of type like, okay, you're fine. Stop crying. Suck it up. What you gonna do about it?
Gotcha.
Things like that. My mom's more like Leia. I'm more like Padme.
Yeah. I'm a Padme.
Yeah. But I think they would have, dialogue because, at least open dialogue, just because I feel like Padme wouldn't, she had lived, she had lived through all that. And I feel like, of course, she would be, probably a little bit jaded, but just in her character, at the pure core of her character, I don't think it would have made her cold.
I don't think so either. I can't see a cold Padme.
No.
I mean, when she got her heart broken, she died over it. Yeah.
Because that's important to her. Love is important.
Everything she had. Even though there were human beings coming out of her body, she was done.
Yeah. And to me, like some people hate that. I love that. Not because her boyfriend or her husband, whatever, and now she's worthless. No. To me, that just was a testament to how much they loved each other, but we'll talk about that a little bit. But I think that she would have been weary. There we go. Not wary.
Weary.
Of, if she had lived and Leia was like, hey, Mom, I met this, this dude. kind of smuggle stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think she would have been a little weary about it. But with how important love is to Padme as a character, I feel like she'd have been supportive.
I do too. I think she would have, now, babe, I've been through a relationship and didn't really turn out that great because I took emotion over logic.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think that it's all about love. Relationships I've been married for 13 years and we've been together for 15.
Mhm.
But I'm the first one to tell you that marriage isn't all about emotion. There's a lot of logic you have to try because there's going to be times when that person overwhelms you to the point where you're like, you know what? I can't do this anymore.
Bye.
I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
But no, then your logic comes to the rescue and says, this is kind of think about your future. What possible future could you have with this man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like Leia being Leia could very well answer that question.
Yes.
Because I don't think her being raised by Padme would change
Who she is.
her fire and
Right.
her, her reasoning skills. And I think Leia could answer that question, and I feel like Padme would respect that answer.
I do
Be
too.
like, okay. Be like, fine.
As long as you've thought about it, I'm good
Mhm.
and I'll support you in anything you do.
Yeah, because because she can't be a hypocrite in that way. Be like, what about all these risks? What about all these
Right.
things? Because she'd be like, sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not.
Mhm.
Yep.
Just don't lose yourself trying to make him whole.
Right. And I have
Because
I have to tell my kids, you have to weigh the consequences and the benefits and you have to make a decision based on those factors.
Yeah.
So I think that they would be a really cool mother-daughter team.
I think they would butt heads.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Especially at 17, like when Leia's
Oh, yeah.
16, 17 years old. But, eventually, she'd come back and
Yeah.
we all do.
Yeah. It'd be like an episode of Seventh Heaven.
I think I watched
I'm
an
gonna say
episode of that one time.
I was going to say Little House on the Prairie, but I'm like, no,
No.
that's too perfect.
I could definitely see Leia and Padme button heads quite a bit.
Yes.
Because they'd both be headstrong, but I think the way that Padme would raise her would really cultivate that
It would.
opinionation, that strength. Because even theorizing, so if Padme lived, having the circumstances play out the same way, there's a lot of cautionary tales there, a whole lot, and her passing those on, I feel like that may change Padme a little, to make her actually a little bit more like Leia, a little more guarded, a little stronger. Not that she wasn't strong, but even
the wall would be there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There would have to be a barrier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Personally, I feel like she would be very protective if she
Mhm.
had lived of that part of her life. And I kind of feel like she would separate Vader from Anakin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so.
Have to.
And just because I don't feel like that love would go away.
Mm-mm.
Because you can sit there and say this person's not a good person, but sometimes you love them and it is what it is. Doesn't mean you have to be with them. Doesn't mean you have to condone what they do. Sometimes the best
Right.
way to love somebody like that is to love them from a distance. Wish them well, send them on their way, whatever. But I feel like she would be very adamant at separating that and be like, no, that's
It's toxic.
yeah. I want to I feel like she would be motivated to be like, we need to stop Vader because he's not mine. Like he took
He took everything from her.
He took everything.
Well, kind of like how Obi-Wan separated Anakin from Vader.
It would be yes,
Yeah.
exactly like that. Like I feel like she would be almost super defensive about it.
No, your father
Just-
died.
Yeah, just because that
Mhm.
would be a very very soft spot
Mhm.
and touchy subject with her.
Yes.
But I don't think it would, because we're like snowflakes. We're all different.
As long as you're not saying we're fragile.
Absolutely not. I was just saying,
I was joking. No, you always see the snowflake argument on everything.
Oh
Like,
God, I forgot no, never mind. I retract that statement. We're all like stars.
yes.
There you go.
We're really pretty to look at, but you touch us without permission, we'll burn your hand off. Anyways.
That needs to be an official quote.
I'm going to
from
make
now
that
on.
a shirt. Anyways. And some women, when they deal with things, it makes them hard. It draws them up. They become bitter. That person, their ex per se, becomes the focal point of their anger, their whatever. Like, you did this. I do not feel like Padme would be like that at all. She would feel like my enemy is Vader. Because first of all, he tried to kill me.
Yep.
He stole my husband.
Stole my husband.
Ripped
The
my
wife you
children's
had, yeah.
father away.
Yeah, and it's like, you took everything I had dreamed of, that I had hoped for, that I had risked everything for, that Anakin risked things for, because they had to hide their relationship. And
See, I think she had way more to lose, though, with that, with how they were all secretive and things like that. I think she put a lot more on the line than he did.
Really? He's the chosen one, though.
I mean, he's going to be the chosen one if he gets kicked out either way, though.
I feel like it's equal. She put more material things, more worldly things, such as position, things like that, and he put more on the line because he was spreading himself way too thin.
Yes,
I could see that.
He was so stressed out by the end of 3. It's like, no wonder he killed a whole bunch of babies.
She risked more. I feel like they risked the same amount, but she risked more tangible things, and he made himself vulnerable, more and more vulnerable, because he just cares a lot.
He does.
And
have you read the book?
Which book?
1 through 3.
Canon books.
Oh yes,
episodes.
I've read 2 and
Love
1. I've read 1 and 2.
They're amazing.
I haven't gotten 3 yet.
You should get 3 because it's amazing. I mean, that's my favorite so far.
I need to read it.
But
yes, I bought 2 and I read 2.
That Padme could sit there, because in the book, Natalie Portman is an amazing actress.
Yes.
She can portray things in her face, such as pain and happiness. But it's her portrayal of a character. When you read it, it was, my love, my life, my Anakin. It was, this is why I'm doing this. I couldn't not do it. That's how much I love this person. It wasn't just a kind of half thing that you kind of saw in the background, and then all of a sudden they're married. It was, it was a real progression of a relationship that you just didn't really get to see in the movies as much.
And I feel like that robbed so much from Padme as a character.
I do too.
Just because you could, and people were like, they had no chemistry. It's like, in some scenes they did. In some scenes it was very forced, like the one where they're just sitting on the couch staring at each other.
I was about to say, that's the weirdest scene.
weirdest scene ever. I feel like her corset's too tight. She can't breathe.
But wouldn't you be awkward
Everything
too?
is pain and torture.
Yeah, but it was that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
It's also like, I'm an awkward human being.
Yeah, it's an awkward situation. So,
yeah, and it's just like, okay,
I'm sorry, if a guy was like describing the way I feel about you is you cause me torture and pain and I'm agonized, like, run for the hills, man.
No. Well.
Technically, yes.
Yes.
If they are in torture, that means they're unstable. You might want to walk away.
That should probably be a red flag.
End of episode 3 became Vader unstable.
Yeah, but I think he just wasn't very good at expressing things.
No.
I think she knew that.
He knew his thoughts on Sam, though. He was very adamant on that, though.
Don't bring that up. You know how much I love it.
I've heard about your thoughts on sand.
Yes. Before this, should I do it now?
Do it.
Hold on, I gotta get my Anakin voice on. I like it here. everything's so crisp and clear. And then she talks about how they used to dry themselves on the sand. He's like, I hate sand. I can't do it. It's coarse, irritating, and it gets everywhere. Like, I can't, I'm on the spot, but I do that all the time. It is my favorite thing. And when I was reading like book 2, I was like, do they have the line? They have the line.
They have to have the line.
You have to have the line. But he's like, not like here, everything's soft. As I caress your arm very awkwardly because I've never touched a female in my life.
Oh my goodness.
But anyways, but yeah, you know, that should probably be a red flag. But I think she understood. That doesn't make her weak or uneducated, in my opinion. I think she understood him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she knew him from when he was a boy.
9,
a child, tiny child. And I think she understood that when he says things, you know, and it comes across weird, he was unstable. I'm not making an excuse for him. But I feel like in her mind, he could be transparent with her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
he could say things like that, and she wouldn't run.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because
he
she-
had told her that he killed all the sand or the
Yeah.
I was about to say, yeah.
Because she
Killed them
wasn't
all.
she wasn't scared of him.
no.
Yeah.
You know, she saw past that.
Mhm.
And whether it be for good or for bad, everyone's gonna have different arguments, you know, with toxic relationships and things like that. But she saw past that, and she felt like it was enough.
Yes.
And that's her decision to make at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Not, you know, would I want to date a human being like that?
No.
Probably not. You know, I'm fine. But, you know, if I'm having a rough time, would I want someone to see past my crazy? Probably.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you have to kind of look at it from both sides. But I don't think that, you know, I've seen some people say that she was very ignorant for trusting him and thinking he was a good idea. And I went off a little bit.
That's
think
not ignorance. It's it's hope.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly it. It's
Sometimes you can see a person and yeah, they have flaws. And I mean like crap ton of flaws. But I mean, we're not all one thing. We can
No.
be flawed. And I'm crazy as a bedbug. But you know, I mean, I had somebody that looked past that. And
Right.
I'm healthier now because of him. So it can go both ways. It
right.
just,
And
you know, it's not going to go both ways when one of you's a Jedi and one
right.
of
You
you's
know,
a
this,
senator.
you know, people need to separate that this is, you know, in space and, you know, he has
This is
visions and-
sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's not a real
necessarily-
relationship.
it's not, you know, a show where it's like he's an accountant.
Right.
But, you know, and I think she was just so genuine.
She was. She was
To me.
always genuine. And so was Anakin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
love him.
he didn't, you know, lie to you on purpose. He wasn't
No.
deceitful or manipulative or anything. He was very genuine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, you know, I just love that about her, and that she saw that, and she saw that, you know, and even like Leia with Han, like, yeah, they had this back and forth thing that is great, that I love. But she kind of saw past his swagger and his, you know,
Bravado.
talking and his attitude. And
Mhm.
she's like, I just want to keep you.
Stick you in my pocket.
Yeah. And it's very different, but it's almost like they look past all the bull crap, all the stuff that's, you know, superficial, and they looked at the person, and that's how they decided, for good or for
Right.
better or for worse, for lack of
Mhm.
a better phrase, who they wanted, and they stuck with it.
And
And
they weighed. They were very intelligent women. They
Mhm.
weighed the good and the bad, and they made a decision based on what they wanted. So, I mean, we do that all the time.
and they didn't really make an excuse for it,
No.
Mhm.
because, you know, you see people now, they're like, oh, I did that because of this.
Mhm.
With those two characters, like, I did that because I wanted to, and
I
that's what
wanted
I felt in my heart, and it is what it is.
They didn't have to
I did it.
justify anything.
No.
And they didn't feel defensive or, they
Right.
just said, this is my choice and take it or leave it.
Exactly. And I love that about them.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think we kind of, just really quick, I'm sorry.
No.
We talked about this the other day, kind of when he was asking me to do the show. And I was like, sure. Yes, I'd love to. About how, Padme and Anakin as parents are kind of full, like, you think Padme would be just like, or Leia would be just like Padme, and Luke would be just like Anakin. That's like the running theme. When I think it's reversed.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luke has a lot of his mama in him, and Leia's got a lot of her father.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that. And not a lot of people like see that or talk about it. They're all like, Luke's just going to be just like his dad, blah, blah, blah.
Luke's soft.
Especially young Luke and emotionally torn Luke. Yeah, that's the part of Anakin too.
Yeah.
But just the way he sees people.
Mm-hmm.
That's his mama.
Yeah.
Like in him. And the way Leia sees people a lot of times is kind of more towards Anakin. And I like that they're a perfect mixture of their parents, even though they were completely separated
Right.
from their parents. I like that you don't just see, like mother, like daughter. You don't just see Padme and Leia. You see Padme and Luke. You see Anakin and Luke. You see Anakin and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that dynamic.
Yeah, and not a lot of characters do that. Like they have a father-son in a show, right? And he's just like his dad. Just like his dad. And you see a daughter and a mom. Oh, they're just one and the same, right? And this, it's like you really see both parents.
Right.
In both of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an art, I feel like, in script writing and even in books, a lot of times they pick and choose which parent and which thread they're going to follow instead of basically taking it from a human perspective. Like, I'm a lot like my mother.
But you're a different human being.
I'm a different human being, and I'm also... There's both of them in me.
Right.
It's not just focused. And I feel like a lot of people lose that, especially with Leia. They focus on how much Luke is like Anakin. But they kind of miss some of the points. And when Leia is like, and they kind of discount Padme as their mom.
Mm-hmm.
That drives me a little nuts. But
when Luke he's had some lines, and I had them written down. I don't know what I did with them. Some of the lines he has is very much like something Padme would say or how she would act in that same situation. And I really like how I feel like there's both lines you have to follow. And Padme just wasn't left behind. She died at the end of 3. Bye.
Yeah.
That's chill. And it's very subtle. I wish that was played upon more. I guess the point I'm getting.
Definitely.
I think Leia is really big. I mean, into her mom too, though. I mean, I think that she shows both parents surprisingly well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for a female character, that doesn't happen a lot. Even now in 2017, that does not happen a lot.
No.
It's either one drastic point or another.
Mm-hmm. And I love that the most provocative thing that she had was a golden bikini because she was being objectified by someone. And it is shown that she is being objectified by this person. So it's not because they wanted to show her off necessarily. They wanted to show how the dynamic could go when it comes to a female character.
Yeah.
And how she can kick butt later.
Exactly.
And that's important because it's like, it's not just a throwaway bikini scene. It's
right.
Something that means something.
Right.
It's like in the situation and it sucks. And it's a real situation.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry. You think some creep, like when they would abduct a beautiful young woman and just lock her in a cage and never bother her?
No.
Absolutely not. And, women are objectified on the daily basis.
Yes.
And so are men, but that's a different podcast. But women for sure. And just seeing that kind of in your face and seeing how many people misunderstand it. I'm like, you're missing the point. Like,
Right.
you're missing the fact that they're bringing this to attention because
it needs to be brought to attention.
Brought to the, and then it wasn't like, they came in and helped her. I mean, my God, did you see Jabba? Like, come on now.
But I mean, she did it herself.
She did it though.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful. It wasn't like she was like, oh, cut my chain.
No.
I'm going to go wait on the ship.
And she didn't even wait. Like, she took a moment to go, okay, this is going down. Yep. Choom.
Yep.
You have no idea how many times in horror movies I've been with them. I'm like, would you stop having a monologue? Like, we don't need this. Like, pull a Leia and just go for it, man. just go for it. But yes, and that's what I really love. And I just love them. I just want to hold them. And, but I love Padme. I do.
Oh, yes.
I did
Well,
too.
and I feel like Padme got a lot more character development and in I guess more of a focus in Clone Wars, the animated series. I know you're not caught up.
I need to watch it.
Yes, you do, because Padme
It's
almost
still
seems
on
like
Netflix.
a different. Yes, it survived on Netflix. It was supposed to be gone June 7th, but it's still there.
Yay!
Whether by accident or on purpose, it's still there. But yeah, I mean, like the Padme in the Clone Wars series, she's strong. She's a warrior. And you see a lot more of the foreshadowing of Leia throughout the series and everything too. I personally like that Padme better than the one that is portrayed in 2 and 3. Now in 2, I like how Padme did get her aggressive negotiations part on that. I was like, finally, she gets a chance to shine.
Yeah.
But it was like, and it peaked and down. And then she went back to the lowly wife or whatever. Like, that's how I felt about it. I didn't feel like I feel like they stripped the power away from her in the 3rd episode. And even though it was all for love, all that kind of stuff, like, I don't know. Like, it hurt me to see her just all of a sudden give up, I guess, is what it felt like. So
yeah, I can understand that, but I feel like those moments where she could just be a wife and meet him out were important to her. Because people that, are stay-at-home moms or, that whatever. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom.
I feel like a lot of people are like, oh. And
well,
that
we're less of a woman.
Right. That
Not
doesn't
at
make
all.
you
Yeah.
less
Or we're
than that.
more of a woman, depending on somebody's point of view. And I'm
Right.
like, no, I'm a woman.
And I feel like I wish they would have shown more, like more of them together, being normal.
The book.
I want to read it.
Yeah.
Doing more normal things, because that was her goal to, like, she was happy. She was happy, and she wasn't senator. She wasn't, princess or queen.
She didn't want to be queen or princess. The only reason she did that is not for power. It was only to help her people. It was never for power or money or any of those reasons. She was a politician because she wanted to help her people.
Yeah. And I feel like at home, she got to be her.
She got to be who she wanted to be.
Yeah. Stripped down and not, off saving the world, fighting every day, but that was her happy place. And he was her happy place. And him coming home to her, that's all she wanted. That's all she needed.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it, because she was like, I don't have to worry about all the bull crap.
Yeah.
I don't have to be strong and fight, because you love me anyway.
Yeah.
I can show my weakness to you, and it's not going to be thrown in my face. You're not going to think less of me for it. Kind of like if I just want to sit on the couch with you and just like touch your face and stuff and call you pretty.
Pet you like a kitten.
Yeah. And call you pretty.
My
And order
precious.
pizza.
That's a different podcast.
Then I'm perfectly happy doing that,
Right.
because we fought to get to this point, and I'm going to enjoy every minuscule, seemingly unimportant, boring moment of it.
And that's one reason me and my husband are always in the same room. Is where like Leia and Han could be apart and still be their own entity.
Yeah.
Some people really want,
Yeah.
they enjoy each other's company enough to actually spend time with each other.
Yeah. And I feel like the movies, I wish they would have shown that more. Because I feel like some people have been like, oh, that would have been boring to see. It wouldn't. It would have been so genuine and so pure. And just normal.
A runaway romance is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun, but sometimes it's not all sweeping off of feet. Sometimes it's foot rubs and letting the other guy watch their movie instead of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it is. And I feel like that's what they had. In my mind, that's what I think, is they were just each other's happy place.
Yeah.
That they shut everything else out.
Yep.
Or tried to. And they were in their bubble and they were just happy.
And they wanted those babies.
Yes.
Well, baby.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know babies.
They didn't know babies, but
right. But they wanted that baby. I mean, this wasn't, it was going to ruin their life, and they still smiled and thought it was wonderful anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And
because they created it together.
Right.
And that's the pure joy of it. Like when he finds out she's pregnant is one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars ever. Just because, and if someone talks about my man, like I will come for you. I will come for you. But just what a genuine thing. What a genuine response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I'm kind of terrified, but I'm really excited. But yeah. So I love that about them. They were so normal in space.
Yes.
Like parts of their relationship was so normal in space.
Yes.
As normal as you can be in a dramatic series.
Yes. In a,
that's going to go wrong.
Star Wars setting.
Yeah. Dystopian future.
Yeah. It's like, we're not going to, it's not all going to be, there's not a mission every day.
No.
Right.
Eventually you have to go home. You have to wash the dishes and you have to walk the dog.
And that's how see, I wish they would have shown that more, because I'm like, I want to see that, man. I want to see that relationship survive normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. Probably because I'm really hard to deal with. That might be it. Like, it's like, you didn't pick up your robe, hun, for the 4th time.
They actually make mention of that in the Bloodlines novel that follows right after Return of the Jedi and everything. I think it's Leia narrating it, but she talks about how Han leaves his socks everywhere all the time.
See?
He's always having to pick up after his socks and stuff.
That's beautiful to me.
It is.
I love that.
My husband leaves his bags and his socks and shoes by the door all the time. And I've just kind of become accustomed to it.
Yeah.
So I leave it there because
It's like slice of life fan fictions are golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want to see these epic characters like order and take out.
Yes.
And back.
No, what do you want to eat? No, what do you want to eat?
Yeah. It's not that simple. Sorry, I just turned into a
That's
meme.
awesome.
Tumblr would be so proud.
Right.
So yeah, I love them. I'm done now.
Cool. So anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for joining us again on Kessel Run Weekly. Again, you can check us out at kesselrunweekly.com for literally everything that we have on the HoloNet. We are on social media on pretty much everywhere at Kessel Run Weekly. So come talk to us. We want to hear your theories. We want to hear your thoughts on the episodes and things like that. And hey, if you got something cool to say, we'll even read it on the podcast. So that'll be pretty awesome. We got that. We got a few episodes coming up in the works and everything. They're going to be really exciting. But if you have a cool idea that you want us to talk about, please let us know. Stephanie, thank you again so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me and letting me ramble and talk about.
Anytime.
It's nice that I wasn't the only one.
Hey,
I do it all the time.
I have a black belt in rambling.
There you go. So you have anything cool that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, which you're on there too. We have a podcast called Superpowered Fancast. You can find us on Facebook, Superpowered Fancast, 3 words. You can find us on Twitter, Superpowered Fan. And of course, we have our own website, superpoweredfancast.com, right?
Yes.
I don't do the technical stuff, okay? I'm the rambler. Hi.
It's going through some changes too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been messing with your site.
Oh, so exciting. Because good. So I'm so glad you're so smart and you can do that, because me, no. no skill. 0 skill.
You got skill, it's just not website creation.
Yeah, I just rub my mouth. I'm real good at it. No, but thank you so much. It was so fun. Heather, you're a dream. You're so funny.
I had so much fun. Thank you. You'll have to come back. Maybe our next episode when we're talking about Jin and Rey.
I'll be here.
Yes.
Awesome. So, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us. You can find everything, once again, at KesselRunWeekly.com. And I'm Danny.
I'm Heather.
And may the Force be with you.